This is lesson 108 in Algebra 2, the sum and difference of two cubes. And what we've done in the past is we've done the difference of two squares, so that if you had 9x squared minus 16, if you remember right, you made two grouping symbols, took the square root of the first term, square root of the second term, put a plus and minus, and you were done. So this is the difference of two squares, because we can take the square root of that, we can take the square root of that, and because that is a minus sign, it's a difference, which means subtraction, and we end up with this for an answer. There is no such thing as the sum of two squares. That does not reduce at all. Only the difference of two squares, only when that is a minus sign. Okay, so we've done those in the past. Now what do you do if you get a cube? So for example, if I have something like x cubed minus y cubed, okay, that is the difference between two cubes, okay? And there's a process to do that. Now the process is just a formula that you follow. When you did squares, remember I said if you had x squared plus y squared, there's no such formula for the sum of two squares. But when it comes to cubes, there is a formula. So I can, if I have something in that format and something in that format, I can use a formula in order to find the answer. Okay, so what is that formula? Well, let's put the formulas up here. And I'm just going to write kind of a general form of the formula. When your first term, you can take the cubed root of the first term, and we have a plus cubed root of the second term. Okay, we're also going to look at a formula that has a minus. Okay, so let's write the first one. It's going to be a binomial that has just a plus b. Then it's going to have a squared minus ab plus b squared. That's the formula. You don't have to understand it at this point. I will go over it in detail and you'll be like, oh, this really isn't that big a deal. Okay, so you'll notice that all of the letters are the exact same in both of these. There's just a couple little changes. For the sum of two cubes, there's a plus sign. For the difference of two cubes, there's a minus sign. So a plus for the sum, a minus for the negative. Then this is a negative and this is a plus. Okay, so they're kind of the opposites. And that's the formula. Okay, so let's go ahead and look at one. The first one in the book they give you, and let's do it in red here, is x cubed y cubed minus p cubed. Alright, so what do I do with that with these formulas up here? Well, first of all, I look and see if this is a plus or minus sign. Since it's a minus, I'm going to use this formula because of the minus sign. So let's stick with looking at that formula there. We're going to ignore the other formula. Alright, so first thing we're going to do is we're going to look and see the first term and say, can I take the cubed root of this? Well, the cubed root of x is x, cubed root of y cubed is y. Okay, so that can be, we can take the cubed root of that. Can I take the cubed root of that? Cubed root of p cubed is p. Okay, so I've got that. So first thing I'm going to do is I've got to determine what my a is. My a is all of this. My b is all of this. In this case, it's just a p. Alright, so what do? I take the cubed root of everything here. My cubed root would be x, y. Cubed root of x cubed is x. Cubed root of y cubed is y. Then I take the cubed root of p cubed. And then I make this go. I do not even look at this anymore. Okay? We're just going to look at this here. If you look at this original one from now on, it will really, really mess you up. I promise. So, Don't scribble it out. I mean, that's just kind of silly. But make it go, I mean, don't look at it, because you don't need this equation here in order to finish out the equation. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to look at the first term, and it says square it. So we're going to square both of those. I mean, you could write that as that. I mean, either way is fine, but let's write it as x squared y squared. Okay, so we're just looking at this here. Then it says, put a plus sign, then it says take the first term and multiply it by the second term. Then put a plus sign. Then it says square the second term. Okay? Now the reason that I say don't look at this is because a lot of times students will be, this is the first term, this is the second term. No, these are not the first and second terms. These are, this is the A, and that's what you're concerned about here. This is the B, and that's what you're concerned about here. This over here, this is A cubed and B cubed. We don't care about A cubed and B cubed. We're just concerned about the A and the B. So ignore this, and once you get this written down, then you're going to just look at this right here in order to write the rest of that. All right? So let's look at another one here and see if I can get rid of a lot of this. Aha, I did. Okay, so in red again, 8m cubed y to the 6th plus x cubed. So we have a plus sign. So we're going to use this formula right up there, and it says take the cubed root of the first term. Well, what is the cubed root of that? The cubed root of 8 is 2. Cubed root of m cubed is m. Cubed root of y to the 6th is y squared. Because remember, if you're taking the cubed root, you find out how many times 3 goes into that. Once. 3 goes into that. Twice. And the cubed root of 8 is 2. Okay, so that's where that came from. Alright, so let's keep going here. Make that a little bigger. Let's see, we're using this formula, so it's got a plus b. What is my b? The cubed root of that. Okay, now we're going to get rid of that. We're not going to look at that to finish solving this. Parentheses, and again, we're looking at this one up there, right? So we're going to take the first term, my a, and I'm going to square it. 2 squared is 4. M squared is m squared. We square y squared, and it's y to the 4th. Minus a 2my squared times x, my second term, plus the second term squared. And we're done. Okay? So there's really nothing fancy here about doing this. It's just being able to recognize what you're doing. Okay, so third example here. Whoops, let's move that. A to the 12th plus b to the 12th. Okay, so there's a plus sign there, so we're going to use this formula. And it says take the cubed root of that. Okay, so remember, when you're taking the cubed root, you say 3 goes into a to the 12th, or to 12 4 times. So my cubed root is going to be that. And my cubed root of that is going to be the same thing, b cubed. Alright, now we're just going to look at what we have here. And it says take a cubed and square it. A cubed squared is a to the 6th, because a cubed squared means you multiply those, the power rule. Alright, the second part says put a minus sign. Then it says multiply a and b. Then it says square the b cubed. So we do it just like we did when we squared the a. Okay, so that doesn't look too bad. But we have ourselves a little bit of a situation here, because if you'll notice, this right here is also the sum of two cubes. It looks like that. So I can take that and simplify it. So let's go ahead and do that. So this would be, in fact, I can just rewrite this up here because it's the exact same thing, right? And then put this in there. There. And I end up with that big long thing there, which you'll notice is different than what the book has for an answer for 108.3. It's just a different way of solving the same thing. Okay, they just left theirs looking different. Okay, so anyway, that is lesson 108.